They liked the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
Carl Edwards free falling for a couple to victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team lineup this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
A first-time winner at a road course this past week at Watkins Glen International. That's Denny Hamlin, and we are live on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. 30 minutes of fantasy talk with your favorites, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett, probably a slightly overlarged fantasy analyst. Though Robbie is getting smaller.
I hit a milestone this week in my weight loss. Earlier this week on Wednesday morning, actually, I broke the 75-pound barrier since the beginning of the year, so I'm pretty proud about that. And I look better on camera, and I'm further away from you now. That's what I wanted. 70. Well,
I've been on a plan as well, so
okay.
I'll catch up to you eventually.
Okay.
But
all right,
you need to go back into that weight room back there and pick up 75 pounds and try to walk with it.
I don't want to.
And see what you were walking with beforehand.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, my knees don't hurt anymore, so that's good.
Well, Denny Hamlin's back hurts, apparently.
Well, he won, so I guess
he did win.
It doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah, but it was interesting. At the end of the race, he says that is the most pain he's ever raced with in his life.
And that's saying a lot because he's had back problems before. He's hurt his knee 3 times. So obviously, for him to say that's a big statement. And for him to win the race, that's an even bigger statement of the kind of athlete that Denny Hamlin is. And if you ask any driver in the garage who's the best athlete out there, they're going to say Denny Hamlin. And other people outside of NASCAR have said that too. He's a pretty good athlete.
Tony Stewart also was battling some pains. I don't know if they were pains, if it was just soreness, but he asked for Advil a couple times when I was listening to the in-car radio. But Hamlin was on NASCAR Live Tuesday. We'll hear from him later on in the show. We're also going to hear from Richard Culbreth. Unfortunately, he will be on the show this week.
You're the one who booked him.
I didn't book
sort
him.
Of.
It's just an off weekend, and that's usually what happens is Rich comes into the studio dragging with his shirt unironed.
Well, normally what he does is he just wanders in here because he's bored, and his cube is right next to our studio, so there's nowhere else for him to go, really.
So Richard Culbreth will be here shortly as well. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. You'll see RC here in a little bit. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
The Inside Line will return in just a moment.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
I feel like experience kind of outweighs youth.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Kyle Busch driving for his life right now.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
Our lives are so much different than what people may think they are.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
MRN's Winged Nation presented by Hercules Tire. Tuesdays at noon Eastern on MRN.com, the MRN app, and YouTube.
Hi, I'm Donnie Schatz.
I'm Shane Stewart.
I'm Brian Brown.
Steve Post and Aaron Evernham talk with the race winners and newsmakers.
Hi, I'm Dale Blaney. Hi, I'm Sammy Swindell.
Hi, I'm Paul McMahon.
Winged Nation, live Tuesdays at noon Eastern, or on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, iTunes, and YouTube.
Hi, I'm Stevie Smith, and you're listening to Winged Nation.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
Now it's back to Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett on the Inside Line.
Join the other 1,000 some other people that beat Robbie Mays every week. But most likely don't beat Rich every week.
I was 82nd at Watkins Glen.
He did really well this week.
You did beat me, and I will come out and admit that right now because up front, I will say this right now. I did not start A.J. Allmendinger before we start anything.
Yep.
because I know Rich.
Why didn't you start AJ
Grin
Allmendinger?
walking in here already had something piled up.
Let me just say that Monday.
Just get it out of the way.
Let me just say that Monday was a very stressful day for young Tyler.
It was.
He comes in, he looks like a whipped puppy, and I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word. I was like, because I knew they didn't start AJ Allmendinger. Neither one of these cats did.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that.
Don't call me a
just,
cat.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that here in a second. So, but we walk around. There was some name calling that started happening a little bit later on.
Here?
Tyler. Oh yeah, yeah. There was some name calling, and Tyler, he hurts me when he says he's like, I'm the luckiest guy.
It hurts me.
It hurts me when I say when he says that I am lucky more so than good, and I'm like, really, Tyler?
You have to be slightly lucky.
And then the stuff starts getting slung around, and so, but I've got to give it to you. Why didn't you start AJ Allmendinger? One of the best road course racers that we have.
Yeah, why didn't you start AJ Allmendinger?
Why you fired at him?
I mean, I missed last week's show, and I assume that you guys had a good reason why you didn't start one of the great.
Of course, we had a good
road
reason.
Racers. Huh?
Of course, we had a good reason.
Okay, well,
and this is what I was trying to explain to you.
Okay.
The last 3 road course races that AJ Allmendinger has been on, his best finish has been 14th. He has had problems. I mean, he's run out of fuel the last time we were at Watkins Glen. He had a mechanical issue at Sonoma.
Mm-hmm.
He had a pit road issue, the last time we were at Sonoma. So my thing is,
I thought we were at Watkins Glen this past weekend.
He ran out of fuel at Watkins Glen last year.
Yes, he did. Last year he
My
did.
thing is, with his bad luck recently on road courses, if he did have a problem, I was going to look like a genius.
You were going to, and I knew that's what you were going to do. I said, I know what he's working on.
And a lot of people are going to start him.
Everybody's going to start him, and you're going to be the guy that said, I'm not going to start him. And then if something would have happened, you would have come out looking like a genius.
Well, you wouldn't have come in here strolling in, like walking along, like all happy.
On the other side of the token, now you look like, the opposite of a genius.
Well, Allmendinger, of course, had the pit road issue, and I texted Rich and I said, that's why I did not start him.
Early in the race, that's why it worked out for him in the end.
But then, of course, the rest of my team had pit road issues.
Yeah. Yes.
And they all battled. I finished 160th. I was pretty
You know what?
so
you
happy
haven't
with
done bad. I mean,
for the past 6 races, I've been pretty good.
You've had a great summer. I mean, you've been up and you've been down a little bit, but you've stayed consistently around 150, 160, somewhere along in there. But no, you've moved up nicely.
And then he's going to say, well, I've been 20th or 30th or
I
40th.
finished 4th after Indy, and I finished 22nd this past weekend at Watkins Glen. But, but you're moving up. And, Robbie, are you moving? How are you doing in your standings?
Well, he finished better last week.
I'm staying about the same.
Oh.
Well, like 300th, 400th, somewhere around there.
I'm 283rd overall. I'm 80.
Okay.
I was 82nd at Watkins Glen. I had all 5 of my drivers in the top 15 on Sunday afternoon, and I was really excited about that. And, Rich, you gave me props because I gave you some inside advice on the inside line.
Yes, you did.
About driver number 13 on Friday.
Yes, you did. We sat down on Thursday. That's when I set my lineup before qualifying, before practice.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
Quit
I did.
your lying.
Robbie, did I not?
Yeah, we talked about this Thursday
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yes, we talked about it on Thursday afternoon, and Robbie, he said, look, go with Casey Mears. His numbers at Watkins Glen are really good for his price, which was like $8.
Right.
By the way, AJ Allmendinger, $15. So it was a bargain. But $8 for Casey Mears, and he ended up getting a 12th place finish. And man, I tell you what, that was a great finish for that team.
He had the 9th most fantasy points last weekend at Watkins Glen, 12th overall finish. The guy with the most is Brad Keselowski. I had him as my winner. I didn't have him on my team, and I probably should have put him on my team instead of Carl Edwards.
Yeah,
who was the pole sitter.
Trevor Bayne had a good day too.
Yeah, he did.
55 points. Where did he finish?
Trevor Bayne finished in 9th, so he was 6th in the Xfinity race on Saturday and 9th in the Cup race on Sunday.
Where did Bayne start Sunday?
32nd. That's why he was so high up there, because all those passing points.
Yeah, Keselowski, Hamlin, Bayne, Logano, and Kyle Busch was your top 5 in fantasy points. Then, of course, Allmendinger in 6th. Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Kurt Busch 8th. Casey Mears was 9th, and then Danica Patrick was 10th. 35.5. She led some laps, didn't she?
Yeah, and
she did.
She ended up finishing 21st, but she led some laps in the middle portion of the race, so good for her.
Watkins Glen was highly interesting. You had Denny Hamlin on NASCAR Live Tuesday, right?
Yes, I did. Had Denny Hamlin on to talk about his win and the pain that he was going through, and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the things that we did talk about was Bristol and some of the changes that they've made at Bristol for this upcoming night race here in about a week and a half. So we talked about that, and we wanted to get a little bit more information on what they've done and how that's going to change the racing there.
All right, so let's hear what Denny Hamlin has to say about Bristol coming up, and he said this Tuesday on NASCAR Live.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and a lot of this came from a collaborative effort with the driver council as well as the team from SMI to try to make Bristol, move the groove back to the lower side. And I think some of the best racing we had there came from when guys were rooting and gouging on the bottom. So we wanted to create more grip on the bottom, and really the only way to do that is to put some kind of sealer or some kind of adhesive there to where the tires want to stick. So, hey, it's an experiment. What do we got to lose? It's not a chase race. We want to make the racing better as a whole, so we felt like making a change to Bristol was necessary. So we'll see how it all turns out, and hopefully it's successful.
Now, Hamlin is good and great actually at short tracks, and he's pretty good at Bristol. Do you guys think the racing is better at Bristol right now than in the past?
It depends on what you're looking for. I think the racing at Bristol is the best that we've ever seen because you can actually pass people. You can actually go 2 wide. You can go 3 wide in the corners and actually make passes, and I like that. I think it's better racing. I think the race is more entertaining that way, and I prefer it the way it is now.
I think the fans, I'm with the fans. They liked it better. A lot of them did. I won't say all of them, but a lot of people liked it better when you had to wreck somebody to pass them. And not that I like that, especially if you've got a driver on your fantasy team that gets spun out, say on the last lap, like what we saw at Watkins Glen. But at the same time, it's I'm kind of with the fans. I like the old style where you really had to keep that car down at the bottom, and for someone to be passed, you had to root them out of the way.
Is that passing, though? Turning somebody around, is that passing? I mean, single file on the bottom of the track?
You technically passed that car.
Yes, you did. Dale Earnhardt was probably one of the best at it.
Oh, wow. I'm with Robbie. I like 2 grooves. I think that's actually passing rather than moving someone out of the way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Richie, you're a NAS fan, so
well, you know what? Whatever puts people in the stands. And Bristol.
That's right. I mean, it's all
Bristol,
about them.
come on. I mean, that place used to be – you had to be on a waiting list to get a ticket for Bristol. And then they changed this track, and now I won't say they're giving them away, but they're a lot cheaper than what they used to be.
Yeah, they are. So who do you like at Bristol?
I like Carl Edwards. I like Matt Kenseth. I even like Denny Hamlin. I mean, I do like the Joe Gibbs racing cars at Bristol as we go back there. Kyle Busch is going to be a strong contender as well. So there's a lot of guys, and it's still early to tell on Bristol, but I think Gibbs Racing will be another winner.
Joe Gibbs Racing has won all 3 short track races that we've had so far this year. Kyle Busch won at Martinsville. Carl Edwards won at Bristol and at Richmond. So those obviously will be probably a good start next week.
And a lot of people say that Watkins Glen's races like a short track and, road course races because they're so aggressive.
Yeah.
And Denny Hamlin, I mean, he finished 2nd and 1st at a road course this year. Did you guys see that coming?
I did not see.
No.
One guy out of our league, he did have Denny Hamlin as his winner.
Yeah.
One guy out of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have never guessed Denny Hamlin. I was thinking Kyle Busch or Brad Keselowski almost that entire race.
Yeah. We need to take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more about Bristol, probably more about Joe Gibbs Racing and a few others. You're watching the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Got a question or opinion about your fantasy lineup? Give us a call at 8444-ASK-MRN, and it may get used on next week's show. The Inside Line will return in a moment.
Stay up to date with the latest news from the NASCAR Garage weekdays on NASCAR Today, midday.
We can enhance the fans' experience, and I think that's what we really need to zero in on and provide.
Hear from the drivers and teams as they chase the 2016 championship trophy.
Change is good in our sport. It re-energizes people, makes everybody, step up to the plate, so to speak.
NASCAR Today, midday, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network, your source for NASCAR news.
Join the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news, and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
One thing, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't worry about people judging and just
hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders.
Look at what he's been able to do with the Wood Brothers since they returned to full-time competition this year. Now, obviously,
it's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Coast to Coast, your weekly home for all the latest news and results from NASCAR Touring Series and local tracks, plus interviews with race winners from all over America. Wednesdays at noon Eastern on MRN.com, the MRN app, and YouTube. Kyle, Ricky, and Buddy Long give you the latest from the NASCAR K&N East and West Series, Whelen Modified Series, and the Whelen All-American Series. NASCAR Coast to Coast, Wednesdays at noon Eastern on MRN.com. Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Rich Culbreth is still here, unfortunately. I was just hoping he would go back to his queue because I'm tired of hearing about AJ Allmendinger. And
you heard it all day Monday. I'm done.
I tried to change the subject, and you keep going back to Allmendinger.
Luckily, I'm off on Tuesdays because I was ready to throw down with Rich on Monday. Before when the day
you
ended.
were ready. You didn't look ready. You came in really. If you had a tail, it would have been between your legs.
He looked bad on.
Rich had his unwrinkled shirt on, and he was ready.
Yeah.
When he were wrinkled shirt on.
By the way, let me say that I do like your neck hair your beard there. Your neck hair beard, that's impressive. I was watching just before you guys when you were talking at the beginning of the show. I think you made mention of his beard. I'm like, well, that's more of neck hair.
See,
so you just made it into a beard.
See,
that's awesome, dude. That's how trends start.
It takes me 3 months to grow this. Like literally, you can't even hardly see it.
Yeah,
it takes 3 months.
Well, the TV brings it up really well.
And my fiance wants me. She actually likes it.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, and she wants me to have it for the wedding.
Nobody else does.
Really? She wants you to have neck hair beard for the wedding? Are you serious?
She wants me to have some kind of facial hair. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks great.
It's not nice to tell stories, Rich.
At least it's not gray like yours or white or whatever yours is.
That's all right.
I still want to know, is your hair crunchy? That's what I want to know.
No, you can touch it.
I'm not touching it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it's
anyways,
a little crunchy.
Fantasy racing is a great thing. All right, moving forward. Bristol, of course, as I said in the break, Kyle Busch just completely ruined my day the last time we were there. And what I don't understand is how you didn't have a bad day at Bristol?
I tell you, I was holding my breath. Well, I was going to say at Watkins Glen, I was holding my breath there at the very end, and you pretty much have to do that every single week. One thing as a fantasy player that you can't control are wrecks and mechanical issues.
Yeah.
All you can do is go with first of all your gut and those stats that are
so you're bringing up AJ Allmendinger again, saying that I was banking on a mechanical issue.
You can't always bank on that. I didn't say AJ.
That's what you were alluding to.
You're reading my mind, and I can't help that. But yes, there are two things that you can't control, and that's wrecks and mechanical issues. At Bristol, those wrecks, you can have the best players.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had said this several weeks ago where it was like last year, the year before last, you had Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski on your team.
They wrecked in the same turn.
They both wrecked each other. But those are two great picks. But you can't control that. It's just bad luck.
It's why we run the race.
In fact, that was the race where Denny Hamlin got out. I think he might have had back spasms there too.
Because we had like a 6-hour rain delay.
And Eric Jones flew here and flew to Bristol and raced. And that actually happened on lap 2, the Logano Brad Keselowski thing, and they were done for the rest of the day, and they had to sit there for 5-6 hours waiting for. Yeah, that was
one thing.
My worst Bristol experience was this year, and that was when I had Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and somebody else Jimmy Johnson or something like that. They all wrecked in like lap 10.
Yeah.
And I sat there and watched my team go to the bowels of sorrow all day long. So where did you finish that day? I want to know.
You know
because
what?
Did you not have Kyle Busch?
I probably did have Kyle Busch. I don't remember, to be honest with you. I'm not going to say I finished well. If I
had to have. You're still 4th in the standings.
Well, no, there's been ups and downs, but I've had more ups than downs, just like this past weekend. So, it happens. And I'll tell you what, Bristol, a lot of things can change. Look at the numbers that we had at Watkins Glen. I mean, the winner had like 237 points as a winner. You're not going to see that at Bristol. That guy's going to be, whoever wins, going to be close to 500.
I was about to talk about this.
Because
you have to have the guy who leads all the laps.
Correct. Exactly. And I did in April, I had Carl Edwards who led over 300 laps.
So that saved you. Well, you were probably top 100, right?
And that's, we're going back to some races now where we're going to have a higher lap count. All summer long, it's been low lap count. It's been 200 laps. New Hampshire was 300 laps. Last week it was 90 laps. Pocono, it was 160. Indianapolis was 160. Now we're getting back. Bristol is 500. Michigan's 200. Darlington's 367. Richmond is 400. So you're getting to the point now, Rich, where you can get a ton of points from lap leaders.
And lose a ton of points.
And lose a ton of points,
if you, I mean, and we've talked about this in the past as far as the Coca-Cola 600. When Martin Truex Jr. led, how was it, 392 of the 400 laps?
Yeah.
Whoever had Martin Truex Jr. on their team, they racked up.
Yeah.
And then that's one reason why I'm so far ahead. Is
wasn't either one of us, I'll tell you that.
No, I had Truex.
Oh, yeah, he had Truex.
Okay,
yeah, and he did really well. But yes, if you had Truex on your team, you got a ton of points.
In fact, I told Rich Monday, I said, I wish he wouldn't have had Truex that day, because then he would probably be back with me about 60th in the standings rather than
I'd
4th.
still be 200 or 300 points ahead of him.
No, you would not be.
Would be.
Because that's like 150 points right there that you would have lost.
No,
actually, more than that.
Yeah, it would
because
have been about 200.
Yeah,
it would have been about 200. But no, I'm 600 points ahead of you. So, yeah, I would have been about 400 points.
Yeah. Anyways, looking at Bristol this weekend, we have 4 races left to go until the Chase. Kyle Larson has yet to win. Chase Elliott has yet to win. There's others. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is great at Bristol. He does not have a win. Can one of these guys go out at Bristol and win this race and get in the Chase?
Stenhouse, maybe not.
The best chance is probably Kyle Larson, would you say?
I would say Kyle Larson, probably your best shot at Bristol. He runs very well there in that series. And Stenhouse, Bristol is one of his best racetracks.
It is his best
But
racetrack.
you've got to beat the guys who have already won races. You've got to beat the Logano's. You've got to beat the Gibbs drivers. There are 5 spots currently available, maybe 4, depending on what Chris Buescher does left in the Chase. But, we've been talking all summer, is Austin Dillon going to get a win? Is Chase Elliott going to get a win? Jamie McMurray runs well at Bristol too. So I think there are a bunch of guys. And Bristol may be a shot, a race where we see guys take chances that they haven't taken all year because we're running out of time to make this Chase.
Kyle Larson currently right now is in the 16th spot +8. He's most likely out right now because Chris Buescher will be in if he can get the 3 or 4 points that he needs.
Yeah.
He gained, 2-3 spots on David Reagan last week because Reagan was in the wreck, and then Chris Buescher was in the wreck, but then they fixed his car, got him back out there. He gained 2 or 3 spots. So Reagan is teetering on that 30th place position if he gets in, which Ford and Roush Yates and all those guys, they promise Chris Buescher will be in the Chase. And I think Bristol coming up next weekend is a great shot for Buescher because that's one of his better racetracks as well. But you have to almost assume that Buescher is going to be in, so that way Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray are battling for that final spot, and it looks like McMurray has about a 30-point gap on Larson for that final spot.
Kyle Larson was a long way from making it to the spot that he is right now, and so he can still make up some more points. So he could probably still pass Jamie McMurray. All Jamie needs to do is have a bad race or two, and Kyle Larson step up there. But one of the guys that you didn't mention that has not won a race yet is Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman is one of those guys that can pop up there, and my guess, if he wins a race, it would maybe be Richmond. He does well at Phoenix and those 3/4-mile tracks. Ryan Newman excels at. So I would think Ryan Newman might be one of those guys that could get a win before we reach the Chase.
More from Bristol here shortly. Also, that Under the Rock segment we always do, whatever happens in that, is going to be coming next here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
Tyler and Robbie will be right back to talk more fantasy racing here on the Inside Line.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation, a family getaway, or the perfect romantic retreat but just can't find the time? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. You will discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service at this sparkling Daytona Beach Hotel, located directly on the beach. A Plaza Resort and Spa weekend escape is the ultimate in relaxation, with world-class massages, facials, body wraps, and more at the Plaza's very own Ocean Waters Spa. She'll love you for giving her such a fantastic weekend getaway. The Plaza Resort and Spa, located at 600 North Atlantic Avenue in Daytona Beach, one of the area's premier hotels and the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on The Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
And welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. He is Tyler Burnett. I'm Robbie Mays. He is Rich Culbreth.
Boo.
And guys, it's time for our favorite part of the week, a little segment we like to call Under a Rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
Tyler is
Getting that trademarked.
3-3 since we started doing this, and we
3-3.
We kind of upped the ante on.
He didn't know who the Led Zeppelin was last week.
He didn't know the Led Zeppelin.
I still don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is that? Is what you said? Who is Led Zeppelin?
He doesn't have a clue. All right. So this week it's a photograph of.
I hope it's as easy as Steve Jobs.
We'll see what it is. So let's, Daryl, let's cue it up and let's play Under a Rock or Tyler.
Wow.
Who are those people?
I can tell you all three of them.
So you don't want to just know who the one in the front is?
Collectively, who are they?
I'd be surprised if you got one of them right.
I'm just going to guess a famous band. Is it the Rolling Stones?
It is the Rolling Stones, but can
you
name it is the Rolling Stones. Can you name the lead singer there that we're showing?
It looks like Steven Tyler. That's not right?
You're wrong. That counts as a loss.
No. I got Rolling Stones right. Who is the lead singer of Rolling Stones?
Come on, man. Come on. Mick Jagger. It's Keith Richards and Ron Wood. Oh, look at that.
I did get Rolling Stones right, though.
Yeah,
right?
you did get the Rolling Stones right. But you took a guess, right? Was
that
a guess?
I somewhat knew it was them.
Oh, okay. We'll give him a half point. So next week you'll say he's had 3.5 right. All right.
I somewhat knew it was the Rolling Stones.
All right, moving on. You got it right.
All right, who wins Bristol?
That's next week.
Well, I don't care. Just throw out a name here.
I'm going to say Matt Kenseth.
I'm going to say Joey Logano.
I'm going to say Kyle Busch. I think Kyle is due.
Yeah.
Even though he won at Indy.
Yeah. He's due. He hasn't won in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Harvick hasn't won since Phoenix.
Yeah. I think Chris Buescher wins again.
Those guys are they're struggling.
No,
right
they're
now.
not. Harvick has been decent.
He's second in points, but they haven't had a chance to win in been a long time.
He was second in fantasy at Pocono. He was 8th at Indy. He was 5th at Loudon. And he was 1st at Kentucky, so he's been in the top 10 for the past 4 of the 5 races.
I think they
fantasy.
need to win in the final 4 races to have a shot of being the contender for the championship.
I tell you what, I want to talk about Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart, I know we only have 1 minute left in the show. Tony Stewart, look at this guy. He has managed to finish in the top 5. I mean, just about every week since he's won at Sonoma. Not every week, but here's a guy that's been running 20th, 18th the entire race.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow, at the very end of these races, has managed to finish in the top 5. That is absolutely amazing. Tony Stewart, if you locked him in at a low rate, keep him.
Yeah, so you're talking about me. Yeah.
Well, I locked him in, I guess, about
not
3 or 4 weeks
me.
ago.
I've got him about $2 cheaper than what he's worth now, too.
Smoke finished. He did not finish in the top 10 in fantasy points last week, but the 4 weeks prior to that, he was in the top 10. So Smoke has been running good. I'm not going to deny that. Well, we're going to talk about Bristol next week. Rich will not be here, thank the Lord.
I'm on vacation next week, but I'll be thinking
he gets like 20 days vacation every year.
Yeah,
21 actually.
Anyways, Bristol coming up next week. Mid-Ohio, listen to it on the Xfinity Race on the Motor Racing Network. We'll talk to you next week as we head to Bristol.
You've been listening to The Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MotorRacingNetwork.com or on the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.